Live from Detroit, Michigan, USA, in my house, hosted by Team Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played.
88.1. That's crazy. You so sexy. You got that natural way you move it. That's crazy. So amazing. I'm getting faded. That's crazy. You so sexy. You got that natural way you move it. That's crazy. So amazing. I'm getting faded. Get so intoxicated.
All right. That is Crazy by DeMarzo, who is an underground artist from the UK. I want to give a special thanks to today's show sponsor, the Hair Wars Ad Agency. The Hair Wars Ad Agency is offering specials on email blasting your messages and images to over 25,000 people, including hair industry leaders and consumers throughout the country. For more info and rates, contact through email at hairwars@yahoo.com or call 313-534-8318. Let the Hair Wars Ad Agency reach the people for you. And Colorblind Magazine, which is an online magazine devoted to celebrating and recognizing the beauty and strength of minority teen girls and women. To subscribe to their magazine, visit their website, www.colorblindmagazine.com. Today's show playlist includes music from the A.U.X, featuring the voice of the late Aaron Carl, which you heard earlier, and UK underground artist DeMarzo, you heard that a moment. Now you're listening to the late Derek Jamerson for Timeline. And we're also going to hear from Techno pioneer Juan Atkins. And we also have a clip from Underground Resistance today. Coming up in studio guest, Detroit veteran producer, 30 years, Gari Romalis. He'll be sharing 30 years of his history in the industry and taking us back to the Music Institute and to Detroit, and when Detroit Music Center was By-Rite Records. And he'll also be sharing with us why he loves vinyl. All right, Timeline, Derek, rest in peace. Thank you very much, timeline. Whoa. Feedback. Feedback. Not the red. All right. So, in my house today, I have the honor and the privilege to have Mr. Gary, Big G Romalis. What's up, man?
What's happening?
How
What's
are
going
you?
down? I'm good.
I finally get to meet my Facebook buddy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
I can't complain.
Good. Aren't you loving this lovely winter?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
are?
It's Detroit.
Hey.
If you don't like winter in the city, I mean,
There
move.
you go. Right. There you go. So, look.
Right.
So, you have a nice history of experiences.
Yeah.
But, this show is about telling the true stories, and
Right.
I can't tell them, so that's where you come in at.
Right.
So, man, I don't even know where to start, because, it's like I'm sitting here in front of a legend. You know what I mean?
No, I ain't no, not yet.
Okay. So, look, I know that you have a lot of experiences. So let's go back to two highlights of Detroit.
Okay.
And we got to start with the record store before you can go to the club, because you got to buy the records before you can play them in the club, right?
Right.
So back in the day, which now it's called Detroit Music Center.
Right.
But it was By-Rite.
That's right.
And when it was By-Rite, what was your position there? And tell me about people that the guys and folks that used to come through By-Rite. What was that like?
Every DJ in the metropolitan area came through By-Rite. Mm-hmm. Everybody. Even if you really, if you didn't live in the city, you came to By-Rite. You had to come to By-Rite. Cliff was the only black man selling dance music at that time, and we talking in the early '80s, Mm-hmm. And it's the only way you can buy music,
So, we had record shops, record stores,
Right.
and I know that he's still around now doing Detroit Music Center.
Mm-hmm.
So how would, there aren't very many record stores left
Right.
in the city, because, before they had them all over the place.
Right.
What's the survival there? How do you maintain?
Cliff is a people person. Cliff shows love.
Uh-huh.
And, that goes a long way with any business. You have to love your customers,
Mm-hmm.
And the neighborhood supports him a lot.
Okay.
The neighborhood supports him a lot. And he's just a good person. And that's what keeps his longevity, And he's just been around for a long time.
I know. When do you remember? Were you there when it first? When did you come in?
I came in about anywhere in the early '90s. I've been buying records there for years, but I didn't start working there and coming around maybe till about the early '90s.
In the '90s,
being really a part
okay.
of By-Rite.
Okay.
I started working there like in about '94.
Okay.
And I worked there up until maybe '97, but I still came around.
So were you DJing when you were working there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, of course, 30 years. Duh.
Putting out records too. I was doing both, putting out records and DJing. And my position there was to actually bring people to the store to buy, because at that time everybody was going to suburbs, Record Times and Memories and Melodies and all them other places out there, and buying music from out there. Mm-hmm. And my job was to bring the people, every race, to By-Rite. That was my job. Mm-hmm. And I was the buyer for the record store too. So, I would go out on Saturday nights and go to the clubs and promote. Tell them about By-Rite and tell them about what we're doing, and come here, and we have a vast amount of records you can buy, everything you want to buy.
Right.
So that's what I did.
So now we're going to move into the clubs, because I heard that you had something to do with Music Institute. That was like the hot spot back in the day, and I'm going to just give you this quick story of mine. Okay. First time I ever went to the Music Institute, the sidewalk, the street was banging. And when you walked in there, you walked in the dark, and you came out in the daytime.
The Music Institute started in 1987.
Okay.
People always say it's 88, but no, 87. That's when it started. My involvement with there, I actually, there was a friend of mine named Hassan who introduced me to Derek May.
Okay.
And me and Derek May, and the way I met Derek is came up on him, hey man, how you doing? Blah blah blah. This is what I do, and we got to be friends after that. And we became friends and built a relationship. And I would actually, while the Institute was up and coming, I was helping build that place. I would go get wood, put it all in my car to bring it for them to make the stage and all of that. I mean, I was there, helping build the booth and all that type of stuff, And I DJ'd there in '88. My shift was, I got on at, I think, 1 o'clock, I remember, because the place stayed open till like 8 in the morning.
I know, it was something.
It was me, I want to say Scott Kenshin, Mark Kenshin's little brother. He started, and then it was me, and then I don't know if you're familiar with D-Win, but D-Win,
yes.
D-Win used to play, and then Derek would come on.
Wow.
And that's how that used to work.
So Derek did he own it? Or?
No, he wasn't the owner. No,
okay.
It's three different owners. It was Frank, it was Alton Miller.
I heard your name before, too.
Yeah, Alton Miller. Alton Miller and George Baker.
Okay.
And they owned it. Derek was just really a part of it. They were all friends.
Okay.
But Derek built that sound system in there.
So, we have the clubs now, and you got the different clubs, things going on now. But
right.
What was it about the Institute? I mean, it was clubs back then that was hot, but what was it about the Institute that just flocked people to be there like that?
That sound system would just grab you. You could hear that sound system all the way down Randolph.
That's true.
And there was no other music like it.
Right.
After all the regular clubs let out, that's where the people went for the after party, and it was just a beautiful thing, and everybody, all walks came there. White, black, Puerto Rican, even movie stars came to the Institute. I saw Damon Wayans in there one time. I also saw, I met David Gahan from Depeche Mode. He was Derek's friend. He came in there. I mean, it's a bunch of people. Couple dudes from ABC, the group ABC was in there. So there's a lot of history in that place.
Right.
And it was what people don't capture now is feeling. It was just a feeling in that place. It was just a feeling.
Right.
It's a feeling that you couldn't capture in a regular club.
That's true.
I mean, you could come as you are, do what you want, really. It was
it was a hot vibe. I've been there a few times, and it was like you said, you can literally rattle. It was the bomb.
That place.
It was so sad when they closed.
It was that. It'll never be another like it.
No.
Derek opened another club. Actually, people don't even really know this. Called the Alley, and it only stayed open maybe a month. I was the DJ there. It was off of Grand Boulevard in an abandoned warehouse building.
Oh.
And it was only open like 3 weeks maybe, but it was short lived, and the vibe of the Institute had gone down because it's a gap. It was a gap between 90 and like 91, I think that's when the place opened. So it was a big gap, and people went back to school and kind of lost the vibe of the Institute.
Okay.
So, but that club didn't last long.
So you DJ, you produce, you have your own record label. You part of Dockside.
I don't have a record label. I do have one,
but you're on Dockside.
Yeah, that's the main label I do stuff for. Those guys are hell of a people. I've been doing music since about '88. Put out like my first record in '94.
Okay.
And from '94 to about '99. Then after '99, I kind of like gave up. Music got depressing to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I worked so much. I didn't really have time to do any music. But around 2010, I came back on the scene.
Okay.
And then really came back on in 2012. And actually, Norm Talley, a good friend of mine, had been telling me about Dockside for a couple years. Like, man, you need to give them your stuff and let me give them your stuff. And and I did. And they were just like blown away.
Wow. Because,
the stuff now that's out is kind of like watered down. And I still have an old sound, and I'm not changing it,
Right.
That's just my policy. If you don't like it, move on. I'm
Right.
not changing it.
So on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
you pretty active on Facebook too. I mean, you and we talk
Yeah,
all the time on
yeah,
Facebook, and
yeah.
you really like helped me,
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Before this show was even
Yeah,
your show, we
yeah.
talked, and you kind of helped me
Yeah.
out a lot too, kind of
Yeah.
make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
But I know that you have on your page, you love LOV capital E vinyl.
Oh, love it. That's the original form of the art. The original form. There's no other form. CDJs are cool. I mean, with CDJs, anybody can become a quote-unquote DJ. I don't even use that. I hate when people say DJ Gary. I'm Gari Romalis,
Okay.
And if you're going to wear that title, DJ, you have to be a for real DJ. And I'm not talking about getting on CDJs and lining up to 120 BPMs with that 120 BPMs. I'm talking about actually listening to, take away all that and listen. That's how we used to do it. You have to listen. Don't look at waves, you listen, And vinyl is just a part of me. I collect records too. I just don't, I play them as well, but I collect them. It's just the feel of them. It's just, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
So what are some of your most recent projects? I did see the one that you have on your Facebook page, your newest, but what are some of your most recent projects?
The one I gave you earlier.
Yeah.
That's Bosconi Records there in Florence, Italy. I did a project for, of course, Dockside. I did a project for a label called A.U.X. They're in, House Wax, really. They're in Germany. I got a lot of stuff out. Doing one now for a guy that owns a label called JD Records. Terrence Parker, Orlando. I get his last name all mixed up. I just call him OV. Orlando Ravoom.
Okay.
Doing something on there. Kenny Dixon has done something on there, and I don't know. Label is another label that I'm working with called Fro in Italy. I mean, it's so many right now.
So who is Butch Strand? The Butch Strand Group? Because
that's my company.
Yeah.
And I use that when I do hip hop too.
I know.
And
that's why.
And I use that for my hip hop. I
Okay.
kind of like separate the two.
All right.
But that's my company for hip hop.
All right.
And plus my nickname is Butch from
Okay.
back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're working on projects. You got your thing going on. So you stepped away. You came back. So what's next for Gari Romalis?
Everything and anything. Now, I've learned in this game, you cannot make it if you don't put yourself out there. You have to put anything you do, regardless of music, if it's fitness or whatever you're trying to get a business in, you have to put yourself out there if you want to make it. Anything you do, you have to put yourself out there. So right now, I'm just putting myself out there, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm supposed to be starting traveling again later on in maybe the springtime, and just trying to just spread my music around.
And I noticed, I kind of had to do a little homework on you too. I noticed you had been over in Germany with this Trezor. What is Trezor? I heard of
It's
that.
a label. It's a label over in Germany. I really didn't. I didn't do any records on with them.
But you did something over there.
I was DJing for a friend, a guy, Scan 7.
Okay.
And I was his DJ at the time.
I got you.
And I went over there and I played a set.
Okay.
And I got cool with the people over there.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Trezor is a well-known club in Berlin.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
What is it?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, it sounded like the soul thing here. That's funny. So what's your favorite? You like vinyl, and vinyl has all kinds of music. So what would you classify as like?
My favorite type of music?
Yeah, what zones you out? What zones Gary out?
People the industry calls it post-disco.
Okay.
But Detroiters call it progressive music. That old progressive music. Cliff sold it. And that music to this day, I would rather do a progressive set than a house set. Okay. That music just takes me somewhere else. If you play it, I'm not even listening to you, really. If you put it on right now, we wouldn't even be having this interview. For real. I mean, that music is the best music. It's reject R&B, actually. It's R&B that didn't get on the radio. But it's beautiful music. It's beautiful. That music right there, I love it. And that's my inspiration for house, actually. You know. Yep.
All right, Mr. Gary. Thank you very much for coming in my house.
So short?
Yeah, so short. Because I got to let them hear your music, man.
I was about to get long-winded.
I know, you can.
Okay. Well.
But your music, they got to hear what you
ain't no
got.
problem. I
They got to hear
understand.
what you got. They got to hear what you
Give
got.
somebody else a chance.
No, it's just you today.
Right.
All right. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, though. And like I said, truly, I thank you for spending several times in the middle of the night educating me on the who's and the what's.
You still got some more learning to do now.
I know.
I'm gonna tear your ears up with some knowledge.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
All right.
So now we're gonna get off into what I like. I listened to some of your stuff, and these are two of my favorites of yours.
Let me see which one you playing.
I ain't even gonna tell you which ones they are.
Nah.
Okay. These are two of my favorites.
All right.
Two of my favorite Gary Romalis tracks coming up right in a moment. Like now. Romalis again for coming in the studio today. You just listened to two of what I call my favorite Gari Romalis records. Realize, which he just informed me is not out yet, so I got the exclusive, and so did y'all. Ha ha, I love it. And right now you're listening to Ain't Right. Enjoy the rest of this, and I'll be back. to give you a little bit of the techno pioneer, Mr. Juan Atkins here. A little bit from the techno pioneer, Juan Atkins, Infiniti. All right. I want to thank you for tuning in and hope you enjoyed the show today. As always, the show playlist will be posted on our Facebook page and website, as well as previous shows. They can also be found on the website, www.inmyhouse65.com. I want to thank again my family for putting up with me and allowing me to do this.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Gary Romalis for being here today. My U of M Dearborn Michael Collins on camera. Hump the Grinder and Khalifiel, DJ Trump Tight for providing me with the In My House music soundtrack. Hair Wars Advertising Agency, Colorblind Magazine, Facebook friends, Twitter followers. Special thanks to the new show producers. I'm so sorry. I've just lost my train of thought here. To my new Facebook friends, Petrek from Poland and Vaz Up from Cologne, Germany. Thank you guys for submitting your music. That'll be added to the playlist soon. I got to give a shout out to Ron Hall, from the DJ Jit Facebook group. Another Detroit underground community joining forces and making positive things happening to our city. Next week, in-studio guests will be Detroit techno legend Gerald Mitchell of Los Hermanos, and those guys will be here. And he'll be talking to us about their recent Descendant of the Resistance CD release and a whole lot more. Also, if you're a DJ, a producer, or an artist and would like to submit your music to the show playlist, please feel free to do so at our email address, inmyhouse65@gmail.com. I also want to do a quick music alert, what I like to call a music alert. Thanks to Terrence Parker. Congratulations. Your CD, Life on the Back Nine, was nominated and acknowledged as #1 album for the month of February. Congratulations again, Terrence Parker. Right now we're going to listen to, and I'm going to give you a little preview of Underground Resistance when they were on tour in Japan. I just want to give you a preview of what it looks like for Detroit talent to have a compact and impact overseas. So I'm going to let you see Underground Resistance in Japan.
This is not techno. This is not techno. No. This is high-tech jazz.
geniuses at work. These are the masters at work.
Yo, I'm Brian Hooks from Three Strikes, The Eve Show, Soul Plane, and Fool's Gold. I want to invite everybody out this weekend to check out my new movie, Laughing to the Bank, in theaters right now.